this video, we're going to be looking at using a Google form to collect data. So here we've started a form for parent-guardian communication for the school year, and we put a little image in as the banner. Now, we're going to create this form, and we're going to be using this form just as a data collection tool for the teacher. So it's not going to be sent out to multiple people to use. One person's going to be putting it in. So here we have parent communication. Question 1, we probably want to be the date. So we're going to just click on our question here. We can select date down on the bottom, and then it'll put in the month and day and year of when we complete that question. Second question, we're going to have the student name. So we want to know which student we were calling about. Something nice we can do here is get the list of data. We're going to do a drop-down menu, and we can get the names and paste them in. So in our Google Drive, we already had a list of student names we're going to use. We just copy those names. We're going to go back to the form. On option 1, we can paste them in. So it created a different drop-down for each student. So once I have the student that I'm going to be talking about, I want to know who I actually talked to. So we can put in person contacted, and that'll be a short answer because we're just going to type in the person's name that we spoke to.
Notice that it just changed on its own. That's really cool with Google Forms. Sometimes it could kind of understand what you're asking, so it'll change it with what you want. And then if you want to obviously change it back to something else, you can do that as well.
Cool. So we're going to add another question. We want to know the relationship to the student. Am I talking to, the mother, the father, whoever it might be, maybe just a brother or sister? So this one, we made a multiple choice. So once you have all the options you want there to select from, we're going to move on to the next question. So we're going to add another question. Here we're going to put what type of communication was it. So again, this one will be a checkbox.
And why would you pick checkbox and not multiple choice?
So I might call the person and send them an email. So I want to note down that I did both of those. So I want to be able to check more than one thing. And you can add whatever things you may have for communication in your classroom. Now, we're going to add another question here. I think it's important that you always have the reason for the communication. So we want to keep track of that. And this one, again, I would make a short answer that I would just type in. You could list out different reasons that you used often if you want. And then on the end of mine, I usually put an outcome. If I had a conversation with the parent, I want to know what the end result was. So as we said, this form is something that you as a teacher are going to be the only one completing it. When you want to complete the form, you don't want to be in the editing version we're in here.
Right, because I can't really type anything in. If I start typing, it'll change the form.
Right.
So I'll have to go to the preview. And in the preview, now I can actually edit the form and put in the values or, the information that it's being asked.
So when you're filling this out, it's actually selecting the date that you're filling the form out. You're selecting the student, saying who you talked to. So here we're actually filling the form out. And again, there's the checkboxes where we did an email and a phone call. We're able to select both of those. When you're finished filling the form out, just as students had to do, you have to click that submit button so that it's going to enter that data into the spreadsheet. So now we'll take a look at the spreadsheet. We go back to our editing version. We can go to responses. And since this was our first one, we're going to have to create a new sheet here. So we click on that little green icon, create a new spreadsheet. We click create. And now along the top here, you see a new tab open for the spreadsheet. If we go down into the spreadsheet, we can see the date that it was completed, which student we were contacting, who we talked to, their relationship, how we communicated with them, reasons we were calling, and the outcome we received. All those questions we put in show up in a different column.
You could also see it right in the responses. Sometimes they have nice graphs and just information that's more visual.
And that would give me as a teacher a good idea of, say, what types of phone calls I was making home or communications. Were they positive? Were they negative? I can see different results as I look through these.
And I think sometimes it's better to do check boxes or multiple choice, because then you get bar graphs, where if you leave things as open-ended, you're just
see
going
the
to have
statements.
the statements over and over again.
Yep.